Welcome to the Daily Debrief, an inside look at today's big story. I'm Amy Abdelsayed. Now, the state is set to reopen fully in June, on June 1st, but the DMV says it will continue to operate in a limited capacity for now. You may remember the DMV closed fully in March 2020 at the start of the pandemic and then reopened again partially in June. Initially, there were some extensions for people pulled over with expired driver's licenses. Astrid, this is your story today. What happens if you get pulled over now? Is there any leeway?
I guess that it will really depend about what do you call as leeway. The DMV was telling me, you know what, there is no excuse for seeing those cars without license plates or without renewing the registration or even their driver's license. Those are things that you can do online, or even you can get a moving permit, and for that you don't need an appointment. So the fact that there are a lot of things that maybe cannot be done the way that they were before the pandemic doesn't mean that there are no options. Now, obviously, for some services, you do need to do them in person. You do need an appointment and you need to show up to a branch. But other ones, you can make those online. Some of those you can even make them by mail. And just we have to remember, DMV is more than just licenses and registration. So it really depends of what kind of service you need to get that answer. But so far, they said no excuse for seeing those cars out there without, their legal way that they need to be able to drive and operate here in Nevada.
And we know when the DMV first opened, they were facing a massive backlog. Were they able to provide an update on that? Or are they caught up at all?
They've been working digitally behind the scenes in getting that backlog. They don't have any particular timeline when that's going to happen, but they are definitely aware that they had a lot of requests even before the pandemic. So now with the pandemic, it just basically grew to a much bigger need that now they're trying to obviously address.
Well, what about people who are finding it hard to book an appointment? Is there alternative resources or somewhere else that they can go?
It's a very interesting answer to that because like for example, the people that saw my story, one of the residents that I interviewed, he told me, you know what, I was checking that website constantly and there was nothing. And then one day I checked it and there was like this random appointment and I just took it and grabbed it, right? And that's the case of several people right now. So that's why it's important to cancel an appointment if you're not going to be able to use it. Now, other ways that I know that there are people are getting those appointments are by going to like different like companies or services that do provide that for a fee. But we have to remember the appointments at the DMV are free. So if that is an option for you, if you don't want to wait, well, then that is an option for you. But that's not going to be an option for a lot of people. Now, also, one of the things that DMV wanted me to expand on it that I couldn't do that in my story is that, some people are selling appointments online, either through Facebook Market, through Craigslist or other services. And the thing is that if you do that, you're being scammed basically, because you need to put your information to get that online appointment. So actually, not only they had reports about that, but one person showed up with one of those fake appointments, I'm going to call it like that, at one of the branches. And that person was turned away because they were like, this is not legal, this is not right, and we cannot take this as a good thing. So just imagine that person, how it felt, and the amount of time and maybe even money that that spent on this. So I know it's a hard answer. I'm gonna be honest, like I checked the DMV with my stories, with my previous stories before, trying to get, see if there was like an appointment available. And I understand the frustration. Sometimes you keep checking, you check in the morning, you check in the day, you check at night, or you check even at midnight, right? And sometimes there's nothing. But I do have seen, and I know that, if you're lucky enough, you might be able to get one. I actually checked one today, for the story, and there was an appointment for next week at one of the branches, and I was like, oh, like that's interesting, because I haven't seen that, but those are kind of things that are going to start coming up, hopefully more, so more people can go to the DMV in person if they need those services. Now, one more thing, a lot of the services that you may need may be online, so they're definitely saying please check that before even making an appointment. Maybe you can just create a profile, do it online, and you should be good to go. With that being said, I know a lot of people don't have reliable internet, or are not very internet savvy. So it's understandable that, a lot of people will need help. But if there are things that you can do online instead of like going or coming to a branch, I'm actually still here, it's something that at least you have an option to. So like I said, patience and luck and just checking that website so far are the best tools at this point. Now, we don't know how things are going to change from now until June 1st. Maybe they're going to be opening up more. Maybe they're going to hire more employees to help the community. Those are things that they're still evaluating and assessing, and hopefully we will get an update. And of course, when that happens, you can tune to us because we will have that information.
Thank you, Astrid. That is really good to know, by the way, about not buying an appointment. You cannot buy an appointment online. So good to know. For even more on today's big story, visit ktmv.com. Stay with us for more local coverage after the break, right here on KTMV Streaming. Las Vegas news on your time.